I'm going to show you how to properly lube the piston, and we start out with by putting some lube in the groove. We want to make sure that the bottom of that O-ring has something to help it seal. So just a little vegetable shortening in the bottom of the grooves. This is the stop bolt. This is the eye bolt that you can use to help you pull the piston out when you're done. So this is the water side and the product side is this other side. The shortening will end up behind the piston and not in your product. Okay, so we've lubed the groove. Now we pop on the O-rings, like so, and like so. Before we insert the piston, we reach up as far as we can and coat the inside of the pipe with just a layer of vegetable shortening, so that as the piston moves back, it will pick up the shortening and lubricate the O-rings. And then you lubricate the leading surface where the piston is going to go in. Alright, so now I'm going to add a little more lube to the piston, just so it has a good coating to keep those O-rings lubed. Don't want them to hang up. And once you've gone back and forth making sausage with the fat that's in the sausage, it generally is in good shape. So introduce the first piston, and sometimes it's a little stiff. That first O-ring went in okay. The second one. So what we can do is we can put the adapter plate in and the cap. Okay, I put the adapter plate in. We've got the first O-ring in. The second one's a little tighter. So I put the adapter plate in and the cap. And then I just use the holes that are drilled in there to give you some torque. And go ahead and tighten that in. And you can feel it. It'll actually push that. It pushes it nice and flat and even, and it starts it. And it doesn't hurt to get a little lube on the threads, because that would keep that plastic from sticking. Alright, so now the piston is in. There, you can see that the piston's all the way in. The O-rings are sealed. Right, so we're going to put the O-ring in the groove that seals up for the adapter plate. Right there. Alright. So the adapter plate now goes in there and tighten her up. Right. So now the adapter plate's solid. Now for the filling with water, close the vent there, or the drain. You've got the air vent open. Open the water inlet and start filling it with cold water. And the trick of the trade is to put a paper towel, not tight over this vent, but enough that when that thing fills with water, you don't squirt water to the ceiling. And as you get close, we're going to go ahead and keep a hand on the sink valve. And the reason that I opened the drain vent, so that, and you want this on here, so that when you fill, you don't push that piston back out. Right, so it's full, and it is, piston's right here at the end, and I'm ready to, I'll shut the water supply off, open the drain valve, and I'm going to start the pump, and the pump will suck that piston back. It's a little loud. We're not going to run it for too long, but we'll get it going and you'll see it pump that back. Okay, what you would do, if you're making sausage, you pull that all the way back. You can hear the difference in the sound of the pump when it's all the way back. And then you would load it full of sausage meat using the a meat ram tool that I provide. And then we would start bringing it forward. We'd put the stuffing tip on that we choose. We'll put the adapter plate in, the end cap on, and then we would run the stuffer tube of our choice. And then I'm going to show you it coming back. So we would have filled this with meat, and now what I'm doing is actually I check each stuffer to make sure that there's no leaks and that there's a good seal in the piston and O-rings. So we've got the water supply on, and here comes the piston back. That piston now, with 60 pounds of water pressure, will have 750 pounds of force behind it. So it will push sausage out like you won't believe. You would use the control valve for speed, so then we use an on-off valve to stop and start the sausage, but we still use a control valve to set the speed. And what I'm looking for, there's no leaks anywhere around the O-rings, and the piston's coming back out. And believe me, if you're feeding sausage at that speed, you'd be a busy guy. Right. Now, one thing that I do, I put the adapter plate back on, and I've tightened up the big nut to hold it on. And before I turn these out, I run them up to full pressure. So this is 65 pounds of water pressure in the house. That stuffer is full pressure. I check, no leaks. Make sure everything's tight and that it can take the full pressure. Alright, I've done the test. I dropped the pressure by opening the vent, and I make sure that, well, I've got the sink shut off. I'm going to take the nut off now that the pressure's gone, and I'm going to show you how to take let's say this is we're all done stuffing sausage. When you're done stuffing sausage, you would have had this thing full of water, and the piston would be right out here where it's at. The meat would be gone. You would have put it in your casings. But now you want to empty the stuffer, and what you really don't want to try to do is just pull this piston clear out, because you'll have a whole lot of water come out real quick. So it's real simple. We still have the valves open. We're just going to give a little bit of water and let the first O-ring clear. Alright, right there. Shut the water off. And then we're going to open the drain valve. And we got the drain open, and we open the air vent. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pump all the water out of the stuffer and leave the piston out. It won't suck back because I've opened the air vent. The piston stays there. And I lift it up so the water runs to the back. So, it's pumped out. You heard it suck air at the last second. So, I've pumped all the water out from behind the piston, so when I pull this piston out the rest of the way, the last O-ring, you're going to find there's probably just a few cups, not even a cup of water, which is a real improvement from just pulling that out with this full. You'd have a lot of water come quick. But you can pump the water out by just opening this air vent.